Well, hey friends, welcome to another Q&A video. You know, I try to make these 10 minutes long. I guarantee you this one won't be 10 minutes long because today I'm going to be multitasking because you know how it goes this time of year. There is so much to be doing that like there's no time to just sit down and just talk to a camera and do nothing else. So I think I can answer questions and pot up dahlias at the same time. This is the weekend that I typically pot up dahlias every year. And as I mentioned in a last video, I did divide everything ahead of time. I did bring my scissors out here in case I need to clean up anything, which I obviously will since I'm doing it already. But I'm going to roll into the questions and see if I can do two things at once. Okay, so the first questions I want to address are all about the big project we're doing on the lot line with the neighbors. And first of all, I just have to say, you're all amazing. By and large, the response was incredibly encouraging. And, you know, I think every time someone on YouTube says they're going to cut down a tree, we talk a lot about it. And I tried to, you know, just give you the information you needed about that decision. But, you know, everybody gets a lot of heat for that. And so I just want to say thank you because everyone was really nice and understanding and and offered really nice suggestions. So thank you for being such an amazing group of people. I mean, gardeners are in general, right? But I feel like all of you who watch these videos are particularly wonderful. So most of the questions dealt with the relationship with the neighbors and who's paying for what and how we're managing all this, which I feel like are completely valid questions. Oh boy, we got an unlabeled run right off the bat here. So, oh look, I do have it. I'm just going to show you guys an eye because in the dahlia dividing video, I had told you there would be eyes and there were no eyes then, but can you see this eye right here? Pop up. Really nice there. So first of all, I'm just going to start by saying, I'm probably not going to like put up with any bashing of my neighbors. They're lovely people. They get to do what they want with their property. So, you know, they have decided that this is what they want to do with their property. This was apparently their intention, you know, from the moment they bought this property. And I'm happy that they're going to be able to you know, bring that to fruition. And, you know, we don't get to say what our neighbors do with their property as long as it, you know, follows whatever ordinances your community has. So there will be no bashing of the neighbors. They're lovely people. You guys have met them in a video before. So they're wonderful people. They're doing a project that they're very excited about. Yeah, I mean, construction next door, it's never something that you want, right? I mean, no one's going to get thrilled about that. Changes are hard, but you know, I mean, we did construction on this house and I'm sure our neighbors weren't thrilled, and that lasted for damn near 9 months. I'm sure our neighbors weren't happy about that either. You know, we all have to put up with little things because people get to do what they want with their properties. So now, in terms of, you know, the arrangement we have with them regarding these trees, I mean, I'm trying to sort of balance telling you the things that affect me and help you understand what I'm talking about without, like, sharing too much of their business because they didn't decide to be on YouTube. But we approached them with, if you remember, we approached them with this project before we knew they were doing their big construction project. And we did that fully intending to offer to pay for this because that's how important this project was to our quality of life here. I mean, I know I sound quite dramatic, but you know, if I had to redo all these gardens in front because it was too shady, I mean, for me, it'd be a lot of money. So there would be an expenditure either way, but it doesn't even matter because what is the price you would put on light in your house? You know, I mean, what would you, if you could buy light, what would you pay for that? So while a lot of you are thinking like you're putting all these trees on your neighbor's property, just for a moment, pretend you're really selfish and you're me and think about what you get out of this. You get to decide what this looks like. You get to decide what gets planted there. You get to decide that something is planted there because keep in mind, they have no obligation to put anything there. They could leave what's there. And we would have no screening whatsoever from the cars that are going to get parked there, and the cottage that's going to get moved, and the pool that's going to go in. And then that would just all be open to us. And we don't have enough room just on our property alone to put anything there to block that. So, you know, first of all, they're under no obligation to do any of those things. So, and then for us to be able to pick what goes there, I mean, they could also decide that, oh, we're just going to, you know, if we would take out these trees, they're going to go for the quick thing and put in some really crappy trees that are going to they're not going to grow well on the shady side, which is us. So we would look at ugly trees and we could do nothing about it. So, you know, some people thought that seemed odd that, you know, we would want to invest in that. I sort of look at it as investing in a borrowed view, basically, because we get to determine what's going there. There was a couple of comments that I'm like, well, maybe the camera just doesn't show this right. I mean, somebody said if they lived that close to their neighbor's house, they would, I don't know, die, move, something really dramatic. And I don't think that person must live in the United States, because there's a ton of room. I mean, granted, our houses, I mean, we're on 1.25 acres here. And you can see the house behind me, and you can see the house over there. That's what living on 1.25 acres, that's how far 1.25 acres gets you away from your neighbors, who both have more property than we do. So I assume that person is perhaps not used to, I don't know. I just know that, like, on the beach road to the east of us here, which you saw a little glimpse of in that video, those houses are 20 feet apart. That's close. These houses are hundreds of feet apart or more. So anyway, I don't know. I never ever once have thought that our houses were close to each other. I mean, we also live in an area where many of our neighbors do not live here year round. And so it's kind of nice to see people in summer, because I'll tell you what, it gets pretty quiet here in winter when everyone's somewhere warmer. Oh, and then there was a couple of questions, rightfully so, about sort of protecting, like, how do you protect this investment? And we are all on the same page about this. And, you know, we talked to them and said, listen, you know, should you ever decide that you hate something that's planted there, just give us a chance to rectify that. Please don't just go cutting at something or ripping something out. And by the same token, you know, we also said, you know, talk to us if you're ever it's starting to rain. Talk to us if you're ever going to move, because we don't know exactly what that would mean, but, you know, there are things you can do. So in any case, we have talked through those things, and, you know, I mean, I feel like we're all pretty sensible people. We've lived next to each other for, you know, for several years now, and I think we're all on the same page here. Oh, there were a lot of comments too about, you know, the trees that I had mentioned and potential problems with some of them. And I certainly appreciate that. Rest assured that I have researched these trees carefully. I have worked with the company that I ordered these from. It's called Johnson's Nursery. They're like one of the main tree suppliers in the state of Wisconsin, and they grow really, really, really good trees. You know, these are locally grown trees. They know their stuff, and they do not sell trees that don't grow here. Some of you said that that drone video, you didn't realize how close I was to Lake Michigan. Yeah, we're like 400 feet from Lake Michigan. It's just that we have a row of houses between us and Lake Michigan. Our neighbor is on the lake, and all of the houses to the south of us are on the lake, but we're the last house on this road that does not have lake. So we borrow our lake views, and we've got one kind of through here. We're going to lose the one through our neighbor's property when they put the extension on their house. And then we have one from upstairs. I would like a lake view. It'd be really nice. And I suspect that if I ever leave this house, it'll be if I have an opportunity at some point to get a lake view. There were a couple of comments and questions on the sort of the workday video I did, where I was really excited that last weekend I was actually able to get in the garden and get something done. Although I will tell you that what I was able to get done last weekend when it was pretty lousy was nothing compared to what I was able to crank out yesterday. I worked in the garden from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. when a thunderstorm came through, and I am very, very sore, but very, very happy because we got some stuff done. It was really, and like I focused on certain areas, like I got the whole circle garden done. I got the roses removed and rehomed. I got, I actually rearranged some of the bobo hydrangeas because I didn't like sort of where I just picked them up and moved them over like a foot. I divided the chives and cleaned up the chives. That chive hedge, a lot of people ask me how I keep the chives from going nuts, which has never been an issue for me. I don't allow them to go to seed because I always cut the flowers off. The bigger issue I have is that grass creeps in along that border. You know, there's a cobblestone border around that garden, and over the years those cobblestones have sunk more and more, so they're not really sticking up. So I need to take the edger and go around the outside of those, because what happens is the grass kind of creeps in between the cobblestones, and the grass looks just like the chives. So and it happens on like the sides of it where the stones are a little bit lower. So every year I have to basically just pull out some of the chive clumps and hand pick the grass out of it. So I got that all done. I mean, it looked so good. It felt so great to get that done. And then I got a few other beds sort of managed too. I just really cranked it yesterday, and I felt so good. I mean, I hurt at the end of the day, but it felt so good to get, now I still don't have some stuff done here, but obviously, but it just felt so good to be getting some things accomplished. Anyway, there were questions on that workday video, and one of them was talking about the erosion along the creek, and he said, well, you have to put plants there. Well, yes. Well, actually, what he said was, he says you have no plants whenever it rains or snows, soil gets moved too easily. I don't know. I think he hasn't, I don't know. As you guys know, there are plants planted all along there, all the way down to the creek. So I don't know what he's talking about, maybe because it's spring and they're not up yet. I don't know what to tell you, but in any case, that is not the problem there. What I need is, because here's the thing, these creeks run through almost all the properties around here. Everybody else's, including where our creek meets up with the two neighbors over here, they have beautiful stone walls built. And those walls are straight, and it flows right through there with no problems whatsoever. That was just either never done at ours, or maybe when theirs were fixed, ours weren't, because there are some stones there, but they're sort of falling in. So anyway, it has Orlando, that has nothing to do with the problem. And obviously I've been trying to solve the problem with plants. I've been trying to solve the erosion problem with plants, which is why that area is heavily planted. It's just that that's not doing it enough. So that's the problem, and I need a mason or something. Oh, Martha had said, after seeing you still have snow in your yard, I feel guilty that I complained about our recent past weather. Here's what I have to say about that. We all get to complain about our weather. I feel like every once in a while I'll say something about the weather. I'll be like, yeah, and it's like burning in California and they haven't had water in forever, although now they've had too much water, or somewhere is always dealing with a weather problem. And that doesn't make the weather problem that you're having, even though this is totally like a first world problem situation, it doesn't make the weather that you're having not worth complaining about. I mean, you guys, Midwesterners basically don't know what to talk about if they're not complaining about the weather. So it is bred into me to complain about the weather or comment on it at the very least. And I feel like everybody, you get to, two things can be true. Your weather can be crap and someone else's can be way worse. And it can all be true, and we can all be upset about them in different ways. So anyway, never feel bad about crabbing about your weather. At least that's my opinion. Okay, so this is regarding, we had a few questions from the, I think I missed a few that I tried to save here too. I'll go back and find them. From the Q&A video last week, and this was about one of the postcards. And this is Sue says, I visited the RHS garden Harlow Carr in Yorkshire, UK. Saw blue poppies growing en masse along a natural spring. It was something I will never forget. I can't even imagine how insanely gorgeous that was. I think I'll have to put that on my list. And I'm not gonna plant this one. I'm gonna have to put that on my list. Here, we are jumping all over the place today. These are all Crichton Honey dahlias. So I just pulled this one out and I don't see any eyes on it. It's quite light and shrivelly. And this tuber is definitely gone. Anyway, I'm not even gonna bother. I have a ton of these. But like then you compare that to like this one and look, 1, 2, 3 big eyes right there. Yeah, 3 eyes right there. I will plant this one and not that one. Anyway, I can't imagine how beautiful that is. I've never seen a Meconopsis blooming in person, much less an entire bed of them along a natural stream. I mean, come on. I think you just died and went to heaven there. Oh, a couple of people in the Q&A video mentioned where they found their dwarf tomato seeds. This one is from Tomato Fest. Oh, I think I get their catalog actually. I've not ordered from them. Someone else said Heritage Seeds. I have gotten mine from Victory Seeds, Renaissance Seeds, maybe a couple other places over the years, but there are lots more people selling them now. Somebody said they felt like, you know, it was $4 for a packet, which they felt was pretty expensive. I think that's about what I've paid probably. And I just planted my tomato seedlings last Monday, so 6 days ago, and every one of them is up. Those are, none of mine are new seeds. I didn't buy any tomato seeds. No, I lie. I bought one tomato seed this year, which is not a dwarf. It's called Super Orange, I think. It's a cherry. It's supposed to be better than Sun Gold. We'll see. Anyway, all my tomato seeds are up. Every single seed germinated, which is why I don't plant a lot of extra tomato seeds anymore, because I feel like tomato seeds, more than a lot of seeds, actually really hold well in terms of storing them. So I don't actually buy new tomato seeds until I'm out of tomato seeds. Oh, lots of comments about okra. Several people who said that, well here, I'll just read LB's. As a Texan, I can confirm that okra is delicious, battered, fried, and heavily seasoned with garlic salt. That's pretty much the only way we like it, so I can't justify giving it space in my small garden, but it is a beautiful plant. I mean, not to diminish the delicious taste of fried okra, but isn't everything fried, battered, and seasoned with garlic salt delicious? I will grow okra someday. Probably not this year because I didn't start any. Just the flip side of that, Karen says, I once ate canned okra. It was the most disgusting thing I have ever put in my mouth. I've never had any interest in growing it. Oh, and then there was, this actually just came out a little bit more recently, my quick video on how to divide dahlias, as you see here. Somebody asked what kind of tags I was using. I'll put a link to these. This is what I've been using. They came on a roll. And these are just ones that I can slip over the neck. My only problem with these is that they're shiny, and so you must use a permanent marker, and you have to wait to let that permanent marker dry before you can touch them. But I'll put a link to those below. Other than that, they're fine. They probably make some that are like dull. I wanted to buy some, I had been using like bright yellow ones, and I wanted to buy some that might blend in with the color of the garden a little bit, because I do leave these on in the garden. Oh, I filled up a whole bin here. By the way, this is a whole tray of Crichton honey. That's the only thing I've potted up so far. There was a question on there, I think from a couple of people, who said that they pulled their dahlias out and they just were like, had exploded with growth. And that'll happen. Sometimes you pull them out and they've got like huge shoots coming off them. So generally speaking, most dahlia tubers have, you know, that you've stored, have more than one eye. And, oh, am I done? Did I finish this whole, oh no. Hold on. Hang on, I'm gonna get another tray. Some people have asked me about these little crates that I use that just like pop open. You guys, I use these things for everything. I'll put a link to these too. They're not cheap, but I get more use out of these things than anything else that I could possibly store something in. I bought them to store dahlias in originally, but once I'm done storing the dahlias in them, I use them for this, for putting the pots in so that I can carry them around. So like all these dahlias, I'll just take inside till they sprout. So like I'm done with them. I might spritz them with just the tiniest amount of water, probably even not. Keep them warm, and then as they sprout, I will move them out to the temporary greenhouse, which is not currently erected, but will be probably tomorrow. So I keep them in that. When I'm done with them there, this is what I use to carry plants around the garden. So if I'm doing a gardening project and I don't want to like pull up the big wagon, I just load all the plants I need to carry to an area of the garden in here. And because they fold flat, on the rare occasion I'm not actually using them, like I just store away so easily. This was not supposed to be product hour with Erin. What was I talking about? Squirrel. The question about what to do when you pull your dahlias out and they're just, hang on, one more dahlia point. I mentioned to you that I pot up my shriveled ones. This is Penn Hill watermelon. It is pretty shriveled. It's gonna grow just fine. I'm going to pot it up without any worries. I've done this sort of experiment a couple of times. Every time I do this, they grow and produce just fine. Pot is a little small for it, to be honest, but we're gonna jam it in there. How about we get back to the question that was asked? So most dahlia tubers that you store will have more than one eye. So what I do when they're really long is I will just cut those off. You can't really save them. They're too lanky already. So to try to like pot them up and get them going, it's not gonna work. So just cut them off and you'll get another eye out of them. If it's a short one, then you can think about, if it's short, then you can think about, you know, like an inch or a couple inches long. Just pot it up and make sure you get it in light right away. And if you're not, it is a sign though that, you know, your storage space probably got a little too warm. So just think about that for the following year. Oh, speaking of shriveled tubers, somebody mentioned in that video that they found some shriveled tubers. And so they said that this is Barbara, says she experimented by soaking them in water for 30 minutes and then planting them in moist vermiculite. And she said it worked like a charm. So, I mean, you could do that too, but I don't do anything different with my slightly shriveled tubers than what I do with all the rest of them. And it seems to be fine too. But I'm glad that worked for you, Barbara. Okay, let me go get the postcards. So there are 2 postcards that were sent to a different one. One of the Q&A videos, I failed to put the P.O. Box address in there. So I think I picked up the description from an old video. And so anyway, they were sent to me at a different address that I occasionally put on videos. And I have them, I just haven't brought them home. So if you are somebody who sent a postcard and you're like, okay, this is like 2 weeks in a row since I sent that and I haven't seen it, or 2 videos in a row and I haven't seen it, it's probably one of those, and I promise to get them home. Okay, let's talk. Oh God, come on. Let's get in front of the camera here. Grill in the background, that's how you can tell I'm from the Midwest. Okay, grill out all winter. Look at this beauty. This is from Mrs. Janet Brown. Dear Erin, this is a wonderful idea. Hope you get a chance to go to Williamsburg. It's not only beautiful, but it's history on the plants and knowing how they're used. Much success this 2023 season. Yeah, so this is Colonial Williamsburg. Look at that gorgeousness. I hope you can see that okay. Just stunning. Yes, let's add it to the list. Places we got to go. I've not been. Oh, look at this baby. Oh my gosh. I thought this was going to be in the Netherlands, but this is actually in California. This is the Armstrong Garden Center's flower fields in Carlsbad, California. Hi, Erin. Natasha here again. Natasha has written before. My recent girls' getaway also included a visit to the flower fields in Carlsbad while in full bloom with ranunculus. It is a gorgeous working farm that is within view of the ocean and its fabulous breeze. While on site, visitors can enjoy vendors with great food, see display gardens, walk through an orchid greenhouse, do the sweet pea maze, and lastly, purchase plants at the nursery upon exit. This photo doesn't do the fields justice. Okay, why are we not all going on a shopping trip there? How much fun is that? That's what, okay, we need to talk briefly. We talked last week about how I had to just garden in bad weather because we had to embrace our gardening steadfastness like our British gardening friends do, and like garden when the weather's not perfect. And the other thing that British gardeners have is, I think, way better garden centers, because their garden centers have like cake and tea. Why don't we have that? Like, I feel like, I mean, listen, I know the garden center business is a tough, really, really, really tough, exhausting business to be in. So I'm not starting a garden center. But if I were, I would like have cake and tea and place to sit down and eat, because people spend all day there and then go do more shopping. I don't know. Maybe you guys know another place like that. Because to me, something to do, something to eat. I think I've mentioned eating at a garden center 4 times now. I guess we know what I'm into. Okay. Gorgeous. Lots of good tulip pictures and spring pictures. The Iverson family does an amazing job inviting people to their farm to see gorgeousness like this. Highly recommend the farm tour. This is the Wooden Shoe Tulip Farm in Woodburn, Oregon. And this is Elwina from Alma Farm. And she's on Instagram at Porch Petals. Absolutely beautiful. Oh no. Oh dear. Hold your horses, folks. Sun's coming out. Okay, this is Bouchard Gardens, certainly on the list. By the way, I told you guys I'm working on a list. At this point, it's spring, you know, nothing's happening right now, but soon. Hello from Victoria, Erin. We live an 8-minute drive from Bouchard Gardens. Are you kidding me? How amazing would that be? We enjoy temps equivalent to a zone 8B, 9A. What? I had no idea that was even possible in Canada. That's unbelievable. A group of friends and I visit the gardens 5 to 6 times a year, including their amazing Christmas light displays, and I am inspired by color or plant combos every single time. I'm even starting to appreciate orange flowers. I started following you as we also struggle with voracious deer, and I love your channel. Thank you for all that you teach us. Happy gardening from Lorinda. This is the Rose Garden Gazing Ball. Prize-winning hybrid tea roses are reflected in the gazing ball. Okay, I don't know what, I mean, I've been told that Bouchard is amazing. I have a lot of friends. Oh, it's going to be too sunny now, isn't it? I can't control this weather. In case you guys hadn't noticed, I had more than my usual amount of coffee this morning. Okay, this is Brook Green Gardens. An unexpected find. This 9,000 plus acre garden and sculpture park and nature preserve was amazing. A day may not be enough to take it all in. Live oaks, azaleas in peak bloom, a marsh tour with an alligator spotting. Low country history. This is at Brook Green Garden in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. This is their live oak alley. This is the extraordinary sculpture of Brook Green Gardens. This is an unparalleled collection of American figurative works. This is Terry, Nancy, and Mary sent this. Okay, look at that. This is, see, I was talking about those live oaks last week. So beautiful. Hi, Erin. Love your vlogs and blog. Here, I'm going to try to read this sideways. I went to American Daffodil Conference in Atlanta in March. After that, I visited the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, which was loaded with spring bulbs, trolls, and this spectacular earth goddess, loaded with succulents and moss. Unbelievable. That's pretty wild. So that's succulents and moss. Amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys, this one is from Iceland and sent from Iceland. Check out the stamp. Oh my God. Okay. Iceland, I know, like I'm the last person in the world to get there. I feel like I totally missed the window of like getting there when it was cool, but before it was crazy. But everyone I know who's been to Iceland has just absolutely raved about it. Hi, Erin. I just returned from Iceland in the winter where there's ice and snow as far as you can see. However, when they break into spring, there'll be beautiful, unexpected spots of color and blooms like this postcard. Best from Anne. She says, hopefully our spring will have such beauty as well. You guys, I can't get over. Okay, I love the postcard, but hey, U.S. Postal Service, we want pretty stamps. More tulip. Oh no, not tulips, peonies. Dear Impatient Gardener, we were passing through the area and decided to stop at Winterthur, a DuPont family estate. We were first-time visitors. There is a large house dedicated to American decorative arts. Beautiful. Naturalized gardens surround the house. We were early in the spring and saw these blooms. Hellebore, daffodils, witch hazel, flowering quince. I think it's worth a visit, but I don't think I've ever met a historic house and garden I don't love. Also, sorry about this. It's always hard to read over where they put the thing. Also in the area is Longwood Gardens, Mount Cuba, Chanticleer, and so much. So this is sort of in, what do they call this area? It's like America's gardening capital, but there's like 50 amazing public gardens all in this area in Pennsylvania. It's worth a trip there. Take your gardening friends and then just go to all those places. I have it on the books. Hopefully it can make it happen. September, got a trip planned out there. So anyway, that is gorgeous. Thank you for, oh, that is from Alt Garden. Thank you. Very nice. As you'll notice, the picture is of Florette, who is about, this is of course Erin Benzakine from Florette Flower Farm. Erin. While her, about 1.5 hours north of me, while her gig is not open to the public, an amazing nursery, Christensen's is. They may even have more than 2 sanguisorvas. Thank you for reading. This is Kate in Seattle. These are, these sweet peas, I actually have grown both of these. This is Restermel. I've grown that one. Lisbeth and Valerie Herod. I've grown Valerie Herod too. So, gotta love those Florette cards. And then here we've got a little, I don't know what I'm going to find in here. It's a little puffy pack. Ooh, with a big letter. Oh, okay, this is great. Since I retired, I've been lucky enough to travel the world, revisiting places I saw in passing on business trips or have only read about. I am so happy. This is from Sandy, and I just want to say, Sandy, I'm so happy that you are able to do that in your retirement. As I went, I took tons of pictures with my camera and created digital postcards I sent to my kids so they keep track of me. I'm an avid gardener, so these gardens were high on my list. Okay, we got to talk to Sandy. That sounds amazing. Okay. This is Hidcote, right? Hidcote. I'm a huge fan of English gardening books, shows, and gardens, so visiting some of the classics was such a treat. The Cotswolds are one great garden, but Hidcote is a total standout with wonderful rooms created by century-old hedges and walls. It rained the entire time I was there, but I still spent the day there with my camera in a plastic bag. This garden was so inspirational, and I've tried to replicate the feel of the lovely cozy rooms in my wide open 20 acres located in the middle of hot, dry California's Central Valley. 20 acres. Damn. Bodnet in Wales. By the way, Cotswolds must go. I mean, just to go. Anyway, Cotswolds, that's a must go, regardless of anything else. Okay, Bodnet. This is in Wales. On another trip, I chanced upon Bodnet Garden in North Wales at the perfect time. The laburnum walk was in full bloom. Long on my bucket list, it was even more soul-satisfying than I had imagined. The original laburnum trees were planted in 1875. Their branches trained over 100... Are you guys able to see these? Yeah, I guess you are. The original laburnum trees were planted in 1875. Their branches trained over a 150-foot long tunnel of open metal grid. I spent the day wandering through gorgeous formal, informal, and woodland gardens, but kept returning to the laburnums to experience them one more time. Oh, was that Bodnet that I just showed you? Yes, here's another Bodnet. These are the laburnums. The Arctic Alpine Botanic Garden in Norway. On a cruise to the Arctic Circle, we docked in Tromsø. I climbed the steep hill behind the small city to get a better view of the snow-capped mountains that ring the island. I stopped to admire a beautifully painted cemetery chapel. I met a woman who was tidying up her parents' plots who offered me a tour of her island home. The high point of that day, included meeting her family, cloudberry jam during lunch at her home, was seeing Himalayan poppies in full bloom in the botanical garden. Another bucket list item. I was thrilled. I can't grow them. I've tried, but seeing them where they belong was wonderful. My hostess, Mariette, was very amused by my enthusiasm. I have to say, before I just go on here and just say that, here's another one, by the way. I just have to say that I think Sandy knows how to travel, because if you can get those experiences, like, go do those things and talk to people and get invited to people's homes. Anytime I've been fortunate enough to be in a situation where that's happened, those are the most memorable trips I've ever had. Winterthur in Delaware. I visited Winterthur, once the home of the DuPont family, when the spring gardens were in full bloom. Lots of Winterthur today. I loved the 60 acres of woodland gardens filled with blooming azaleas, rhododendrons, and spring flowering trees. A surprise bonus in the mansion was an exhibit of clothes worn by the Downton Abbey cast members during early seasons. Okay, Sandy, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for, I mean, I just think you've just described the perfect retirement. Thank you for that. This, thank you. All these are amazing. Sandy, I don't know. How can we talk to you more, Sandy? Because I feel like we could all learn a lot from you about traveling. All right, so I think that's the questions. That's all the postcards I have here. If you guys want to send a postcard so we can share it and I'll share on the Garden Inspiration, the address is below. And I just can't thank you enough. I think a lot of you are really liking the postcards, and I am absolutely loving the postcards. I want to go do all those things right now instead of potting up these dahlias, although that's not so bad either. All right, have a great day in your garden. Got questions for me? You can leave them here. I'll look through the other videos. If you have questions for me, you can leave them here. I'll look through the other videos. You guys can ask any questions you want. I'm not saying I'm going to answer every question, but I'm happy to answer what I can. And I'm going to get on with potting some more dahlias. And then hopefully by next weekend, I'll have a few to move outside. Have a great day in your garden. Enjoy spring, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.